across the endless Mongolian plains, where icy winds scream through the mountains and wolves hunt under the moon, a child was born, destined to shake the world. His name was Temujin. Born in hardship, abandoned, betrayed, enslaved, yet chosen by destiny to rise above all. From the ashes of his pain, he would forge an empire greater than Alexander, mightier than Rome, feared by all who heard his name. He would become the Genghis Khan, the eternal ruler whose shadow would stretch across continents. This is his story of survival, conquest, and the birth of an empire that changed history forever. Part 1. A Child of the Steppe, 1162 to 1171. In the wild heart of Central Asia, under a sky so vast it seemed endless, a boy named Temujin was born near the Anan River. His father, Yesuge, was the leader of a small Mongol tribe, brave but caught in the endless cycle of tribal warfare. His mother, Holin, was a woman of fierce strength, stolen from another tribe but unbroken in spirit. From the moment of his birth, the shamans whispered that Temujin's destiny was extraordinary. But destiny, like the steppe wind, is cruel before it blesses. At age 9, Temujin's father was poisoned by rivals. The tribe abandoned his widow and her children in the frozen wilderness. For days, the family starved, eating roots and small animals to survive. Temujin learned early that weakness meant death. He hunted, fought, and endured the cruelty of nature and man alike. Captured by enemies and enslaved, he escaped one night under the moonlight, hiding in icy rivers until he was free. In that moment, Temujin swore, "The world may break me, but I will rise harder than the earth itself."
Part 2. Brotherhood and Betrayal, 1172 to 1182. Temujin began to rebuild his father's broken alliances. He sought support from Togrul, Khan of the Karait tribe, calling him father. He reunited with his childhood friend Yemuka, a charismatic warrior with his own dream of power. Together, they fought side by side, winning victories and gathering loyal men. They made a sacred blood oath, Anda, to remain brothers forever. But soon, Temujin's vision began to differ. He treated common soldiers as equals, promoting men for loyalty and merit, not noble birth. To the old tribal chiefs, this was rebellion. Yemuka saw Temujin's growing power as a threat. Their brotherhood shattered. Civil war erupted among the Mongols. For days, the steppe burned. Temujin's army, disciplined and loyal, defeated Yemuka's chaotic warriors. Yemuka fled, and a legend was born. Temujin was no longer just a warrior. He was a leader of destiny. Part 3. Uniting the Clans, 1206 to 1183. For over 20 years, Temujin fought, negotiated, and inspired. One by one, he crushed rival tribes, Tatars, Merkit, Naimans, and Taichiud. In 1206, at the Great Assembly near the Onan River, the tribes finally gathered to crown him. The shamans blessed him with a new name, Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. That day, the Mongol tribes, once scattered, bitter enemies, stood as one nation. He divided his army into units of tens, hundreds, and thousands, establishing a chain of command that no empire had ever seen. He declared laws, the Yasa, forbidding theft, betrayal, and the harming of women. He made his empire a meritocracy. From chaos, he had forged unity. From blood, he had created order.
Part 5. The Khwarezm Disaster, 1218 to 1221. The Khwarezm Empire, a mighty Islamic state, ruled Central Asia. Genghis sent a peaceful caravan of merchants, but the Shah, suspecting spies, executed them all. To Genghis, this was not war, it was insult. he unleashed a fury the world had never known. Cities like Bukhara, Samarkand, and Urgench were annihilated. The Mongols used fear as their most potent weapon. When Genghis entered the mosque of Bukhara, he said, "If you had not sinned, God would not have sent me as punishment upon you." By 1221, the Khwarezm Empire ceased to exist. The Silk Road was now Mongol territory. Part 6. Expansion to the west, 1221 to 1223. The Mongol army continued west, led by generals Subutai and Jebe, masters of warfare. They crossed the Caucasus, crushing every army that stood in their path. They invaded Russia, defeating princes and burning cities. Even Europe began to whisper the name Genghis Khan in terror. But the campaign was not just about conquest. Genghis established postal systems, trade routes, and religious freedom. The empire began to connect the world, from the Pacific to the Caspian Sea. Part 7. The Fall of Shisha, 1225 to 1227. In his later years, Genghis turned his wrath upon Shisha, who had betrayed him during the Khwarezm campaign. Old and wounded, he still led the army personally. His soldiers adored him, not just as a ruler, but as a father. The Mongols destroyed city after city. Before victory was complete, Genghis fell ill. Some say from a fall, others from battle wounds. He ordered, "Destroy Shisha completely." Then, as the steppe winds howled outside his tent, the great Khan breathed his last in 1227. Part 8. The Secret Burial. His death was kept secret. His loyal guards carried his body across the steppes. Legend says they killed everyone who saw the funeral procession. Some say he was buried near the Onon River. Others whisper his tomb lies beneath a sacred mountain. No man has ever found it. But though his body vanished, his name became immortal. Part 9. The Rise of his Sons. After Genghis's death, his sons, Jochi, Chagatai, Ogedei, and Tolui, divided his empire. Ogedei became the Great Khan, expanding west into Eastern Europe. Cities like Kiev, Moscow, and Baghdad fell before the Mongol tide. Under their rule, the empire stretched from Korea to Hungary, the largest in human history. Part 10. Kublai Khan and the Empire's Zenith. Genghis's grandson Kublai Khan completed the dream. He conquered the Song dynasty, uniting all of China under Mongol rule. In 1271, he declared himself Emperor of China, founding the Yuan dynasty. Under him, trade, art, and culture flourished. Marco Polo himself visited his grand court. The Mongol Empire was now both sword and civilization. Part 11. The Legacy and Division. As decades passed, the empire began to fracture. The vastness that made it mighty also tore it apart. Different khanates, the Golden Horde, Ilkhanate, Chagatai Khanate, and Yuan dynasty, ruled independently. Yet all carried one legacy: the law, order, and vision of Genghis Khan. Part 12. The Eternal Khan. Centuries later, Genghis Khan remains a paradox, a destroyer and a builder, a conqueror and a lawgiver. He united nations, opened trade routes, and spread culture across continents, often through fire, but always with purpose. Under the endless steppe sky, his spirit still rides, the eternal Khan, whose shadow still whispers in the winds of history.